The untold economy power of immigrants in America and breaking the stereotype. Hi, what if I told you that immigrants don't adapt to American dream only, but they build it? I'm Sandrine, welcome to ImmigrantLiveUp, the show that brings real immigrant story, truth, and dignity to the mic. I hope you've had a good week. Today is Friday, so I'm excited to just start talking about what we've learned through the week. But today's episode is something that I deeply care about, not just because I'm an immigrant myself, but because I've seen the power, the sacrifice, the economy, strength of immigrants to bring to this country every single day. Let's talk about the common myth. Oh my goodness, I like this part because we have so many common myths in this country, but I'm going to say that immigrants are a burden to American economy. That is the biggest one. And I had to ask ChatGPT, and he said the same. It's not. Let's see why people think about immigrant being a burden to this economy. Do you think that? I don't think so. Now, if we break down two facts that are going to show you right now that immigrants are not actually a burden to this country. Immigrants make up to 14% of the population of the country. Let that sink. 14% of the population of this country are immigrant, directly immigrant. And they contribute up to 20% of all business ownership. So 20% of business ownership in the U.S. right now, 2025, we're in May 31st, it's contributed by immigrants. That's right. Millions of jobs are created by immigrants who arrive here with little than just hope. And if you ask them the stories, they're going to tell you that they came here with no hope, but because they came with, some came with dreams and some came with money. And that is the biggest misconception that we have. I always want to remind all of us that immigrant has nothing to do with poverty. Immigrant comes with every form. They are rich immigrant, they are poor immigrant, they are middle-class immigrant, educated immigrant, and non-educated immigrant. So every time that we are called immigrant, we need to take away that myth of saying we are less than. Or if you are not an immigrant, having the idea that immigrants are less than because of that name is just, it's the way we are described, being less than. But this demographic and this data today tells us that that's not the case. If we make 14% of the population and we're bringing in 20% of the economy by creating our own businesses, I think that that is just a proof in the pudding that we are more valued than what the street has told us. And the next stereotype, it says they are dangerous. Immigrants often fill roles that are high demand, from home healthcare to technology development and framework. Because they are another danger that this stereotype people have, saying that immigrants are taking away our jobs. Let's talk about immigrants taking away our job. Let's go for healthcare. How many doctors are graduating every year? Do you know how many immigrants who come in the country and become doctors that help you and me get good health care? How many immigrants are in development and technology? A lot of them. And I'll bring this topic. The CEO of Apple, a few months ago, he was on stage. And this is when we just got the new president and everybody's talking about economy and we should not have everything produced in China and all that. But the key here that he said something very important. The question was asked by a reporter. So why do you still have, with money that Apple has, being among the richest company in the US, why are they still produce their stuff in China? Is it because you still need cheap labor? And here, well, the answer. And I'll link the video below in my at the end of this. His answer was simple. No, we are not after cheap labor. We are after a group of developing people who have higher skills. We are after skills versus cheap labor. If I bring Apple in the US, there are not enough engineer, not enough developer, not enough IT people in one room that can produce what Apple needs. The reason we are in China is because we are in one group of people. There are a lot of people that have the similarity that Apple needs when it comes to skills in one place versus bringing it in the US where you can get 15% of skills that Apple need. There you go. So let's not over talk about, why is it that we do these immigrants are all dumb if a company like Apple can stay outside of the country because they need enough skilled employees in one place. That should be something that reminds you that we bring value to a lot of things despite our origins. And then another fact that we have, it says that, and it gets undocumented immigrants contribute over $11 billion in tax. This year and last year, beginning of this year, people talked about undocumented immigrant. I'll just put a disclaimer. I'm not for an undocumented immigrant. I want every immigrant in the country be documented. But I'm giving you the facts of what undocumented immigrant has contributed to this country so far. $11 billion. That's a lot of money yearly. It's not like they're doing it once a year and they disappear, no. And many of them are never even going to have access to this money. So they're just contributing to taxes and then everybody versus the American story that we are told every day. I'm working so hard as an American and I'm paying taxes and these immigrants are just coming, taking it in welfare. Now you know today. That's a wrong and it's a myth. They are contributing $12 billion that is helping American than them because most of them will never have that opportunity because remember, they're undocumented, which means they don't have Social Security, welfare, and all of that. So tell me, how is that a burden to an American society? How can we explain this vast psychology of immigrants are here to make us feel bad? In my opinion, after reading this, I think that they are here to make us better. So let's see the next facts. Just a little bit about me. I work in a staffing agency, and for more reason, I'm not going to put my company on the blast. But back in 2020, we opened one of the offices in one of the cities in North Carolina, and we gave thousands and thousands of people jobs. And it was not only filling the gap that we had in 2020. Everybody remember 2020? That was terrible. There was something called COVID. I think it was around the world, and that hit even here in America. I remember at one point I had to have a letter that I would show to the police because I was among those one people who never took vacation or did not stay home because I had to work. And we ended up to find where we could not even have enough people so that you go to a grocery store and get supply. We didn't have that. We're on the point where like you will go and people who live in America, they'll tell you the story of toilet paper. It was that bad. You go in a store, in a grocery store, the shelves are empty. And people like us and my company and other people, we are behind the force to make sure that you get all those stuff in your grocery store, all the stuff that, last time I talked about drivers, starting from driver, people who work in warehouse, people who are behind the scene working at night so that you get everything coordinated. And we didn't only feel that big gap with immigrant because most Americans did not want to work. Just that's another fact. They didn't want to work. We had to beg some immigrant. We had to pay them more than we should. And even American, we had to pay them also more than we should. From $12 an hour, within 2 months, we paid the job for $12 an hour. We paid $17 an hour. You see the gap? That's what we had to go through. But the people who helped us the most was immigrant, because for them, it was a time to say, oh, my goodness, now I'm valued. Now somebody wants me. Because at this time, we didn't care if you spoke English or what. We just send you to work as long as you can do something, which is, I don't wish that COVID comes back. I wish that idea, like the demand of immigrant and showcase that what we can do, not only in warehouses, but in offices, in IT, in healthcare, everywhere, because we can do better than that. It transforms life. I saw single moms surviving to driving. I've seen highly educated immigrants who found their voice after being overlooked for years. Do you know that an immigrant can get a job and be in that company for about a minimum of 1 to 3 years before he or her voice is being heard? Did you know that? Despite of their education, their qualification of everything that they do, if they don't stick around for more than 3 years, nobody's probably ever going to bring up their idea. I'll tell you a story. I think I was in the Philippines at that time. I think it was about 2016 when H&M made a big mistake of doing some publicity of a black child wearing a monkey and saying, "You look like a monkey." It was a very, very stupid, common mistake that H&M did, and it made H&M lose a lot of money because every black person boycotted H&M. And at this time, I was in America. I mean, in the Philippines. I wasn't even in America. And even in the Philippines, we boycotted H&M. And the question that kept repeating was like, could it be possible that everybody who was in the advertising team of H&M did not have a black person before that advertisement go around? Because there are a lot of things that diverse culture can help you be okay in society. Diverse culture can make you have innovation, because something that you think in your way that, or in your culture or your background, it's okay, it can be a very big deal to another culture. Having that diversity into a workplace, it could be diversity in race, which on race, it has to add also diversity in culture, because we can have the same race, but we have a totally different culture. And for America, it's like a good thing that America has different cultures, because it gives American company the upper hand against every other economy, because they have different ideas from different people. And before they make decision, if you're in the right company, they should consult with all these different cultures. And that is one thing that we really always have to remember. But we still have a long way to go. Immigrants are often left out of leadership conversation, believe it or not, deny access of fair wage, forced to navigate systems that they aren't even designed for. There's always a talk of going around about race. That's one thing in America. The second thing that people don't talk about, on top of race, we have background segregation that goes in so much. You look at me, it's easy for you to think, oh, she's Black American, until I open my mouth. When I open my mouth, things go real quick, real south. And you're like, oh, no, she is not. Oh, then the next question comes, where are you from? And let's just talk about that where are you from question. This is just an FYI for any non-immigrant. Before you ask somebody, where are you from, have a little bit understanding of the person without asking that. Because if you're talking to an immigrant and that person wants to tell you where they are from, in your conversation, it only takes a minute to 5 minutes max. They will tell you themselves where they are from. But they need, first of all, they're not obliged to disclose that information of where they're coming from. Second of all, it's none of your business. Let's just be honest. Quit asking people where they are from, because it just immediately tells them that they are not qualified for whatever they are doing. They are not from here, because if we go back to the basics of who really created America, majority of us were all from outside. Everybody came here from somewhere, apart from the Indians. So let's not ask that. This is just a rule in the house. Do not take time to learn about the person. Let the person explain whatever conversation they're talking about. And then if you really care about this person, then ask them. Don't just ask them for you to know another country. First of all, most of us don't even know countries around the world. Then you go ask somebody, where are you from? Oh, South Africa. Oh, Nigeria. So those are the only 2 countries you know about Africa. So how about we don't talk about where I am from, because it's not helping that you only know 2 countries. I tell you my country, I repeat it 4 times, and you still tell me I'm from South Africa. So it's very confusing. So if you want to know about my country, then better get ready. When I tell you someplace, ask, oh, so what place of Africa, what side of Africa? All these you have to know. And FOI, we have a lot of European, Eastern European immigrants that are here most of the time. Some of them don't speak English either. You see them, you're like, oh, that's a white person. They open their mouth immediately. Their rank drop from here to down because they don't speak the American English. And I say the American English because it's not the only English that exists. There are British English, there are like South African English, there's African English, there's West African English, there's East African, there are all kind of English. There's no right or wrong English. There's only different type of English. And majority of us don't speak American English, hence the way I'm speaking. It may not be your preference, but I'm still speaking English, okay? So that is the thing. So talking about how to navigate with an immigrant, just be candid. Like ask questions at the right time, not at the first go. You're never gonna meet this person. Why care about where they come from? Just be mindful of that. We need better policies. We need better education for employees to educate our employers a lot. And I do part of it. My company helps us provide a lot of education to employers, but it's our responsibility as Americans to keep on pushing to educate the ones who are not educated, to educate companies about what an immigrant can give them, not only to think of immigrant as, oh, cheap labor. It used to be like that, but FOI, we have 8 million jobs that we're going to have from this year to coming next year. We have a big gap of 8 million jobs that are available. And these jobs are not going to be filled by Americans, by the way. If we need to get to that level of filling those jobs, we're going to have to lean into immigrant. And by leaning into immigrant, you need to start hiring. If you're an employer and your company has no immigrant, bring one. The good news is we like each other. We relate to each other. We try to help each other as much as we can. Bring one immigrant. That immigrant is going to be an ally for other immigrants, and you're going to get a lot of them. Most of us will think, oh, immigrant meaning just they didn't go to school. I just recently found actually an immigrant lady that I was blown out because she speaks good English. I didn't know. If it wasn't for her name, I would never ever imagine that she was immigrant. The experience she came with, it's on another level. And one day I'll bring her up here, we can talk. But it's just, I was blown out. Even me as an immigrant, I was so blown away to know that there's an immigrant who has given all she can for this country and done all the research and enough education to fit the bill. But just because of her name, or when you, because the accent is no longer there, it's just the name. And she keeps that name to remind her of who she is. So the more we are accepted in a society, the more we're going to be proud of who we are, the more we're going to go ahead and push more and work harder, because we're already working hard. As an immigrant, you work 2 to 3 times harder than an average American to be heard, to be taken seriously, to be considered, to have a seat on the table. No matter how good you are, because of that immigration barrier, you get sometimes overlooked at. But we work harder to pass that. And it's everybody's benefit, American, non-American, to help each other. We also go through, like, most important thing, like culture shift, to see immigrant not only outsiders, but to see us as builders. America needs to start seeing immigrant as builders, not just some outsider neighbor who came here by mistake. If you're an immigrant, I want you to hear this. You are powerful, you are needed, and your story matters. Keep telling your stories. If you tell it in tears, it's okay. And if you tell it in happiness, it's okay. But your power can never be taken away from you. No one can take away your power unless you give it to them. The more you think you are less than, you're giving your power to somebody else. And FOI, another myth, for all immigrant Americans are not bad. Let's not have that narrative that they don't like me, that if they didn't like you that much, you wouldn't be here. So we're already here. They are not all bad. I know there are some out there that don't want to smell you, don't want to see you. It's okay. It's just a small percentage. Majority of them wants to know your story, wants to know why you came here, how to help. They are willing, more than willing, to help and be part of your story. So when you find the right one, open your heart to them. Open your mind to them. Be open enough and try to learn the American culture as much as you can, because you came here. It was not the other way. You came here and you want to grow, you want to make the American dream. You have to put in an effort of learning how to build yourself and ground yourself. If you're someone who wants to support a more inclusive American, share this episode, challenge the stereotype, especially that, stand beside us in truth. This is Immigrant Live Up. I'm Sandrine. Let's raise every voice, protect every bit of our dignity, and always speak with candor. It's very important because people will only remember how you make them feel. They'll never remember your name. They may never even think of you, but they'll always remember how you make them feel. If you make people feel good, they'll remember about you. But if you make them feel bad, they will remember about you, but it will come with consequences. As foreigners, we came to America, learn to leave good impression no matter what. Your word matters, especially that, because English-speaking people, especially American, they take you by your word. So your word matters. If you say you're going to be there this time, then let them know in advance. Your word matters, you're important to this country, and you're always going to be valued. Remember, let's raise every voice, protect every bit of dignity that we have, and always speak with candor. And this was Sandrine. Thank you for watching. Until next time.